All right, so why don't we begin? Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you're having a great time doing Explore It. Today we have a really special friend with us who's going to be sharing some really cool bugs. So I hope you all are ready for that. I'm going to be recording this session so that after our friends who couldn't come to the live event can watch it later. And throughout this, you will be able to ask us questions. So if you have any questions when Marianne is presenting, you can type into the chat and I will read that out to her. And I'm Michelle, by the way. I work at Boston Children's Museum. So for all my friends doing Explore It, you might recognize me. So we're excited to have you here, and we're excited to have Marianne here. So Marianne, if you'd like to introduce yourself and Bugworks, and let's meet some bugs.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm happy to be here today too. So my name is Marianne Diamond. I'm the owner and operator of Bugworks, an educational company that brings live insects to the public. And the Children's Museum asked me if I could share some of my six-legged friends with you today. So I was happy to do that. So we're going to start with a little baby bug. What you see on the screen is a baby praying mantis. And this is a mantis species that you won't see here. It's native to Africa. It's called a ghost mantis because it can camouflage very well and disappear into foliage. This little bit here, I was kind of lucky because last night this little mantis molted its whole skin. This is how insects grow. They don't have a skeleton on the inside like we do. When your bones grow, your skeletons grow, you get taller, right? But insects have their skeleton on the outside. It's their skin. They're inside out from us. And it doesn't grow with them. So when they want to get bigger, they actually have to bust out of that skin and they leave it behind. So this is her exoskeleton. She doesn't eat it anymore. And she's bigger today than she was yesterday. She was just eating. I don't know if anybody, she's through eating now. I'll see, she was swaying a little bit. They do that a lot to sort of mimic being in the, oh, she's walking off camera. To mimic being in the wind, part of a leaf, a quaking leaf. So don't be afraid. I know what I'm doing. So this little mantis is, I'm gonna get her back here. A nymph, that means she's a baby. And how do we tell that? Because when a grown-up mantis, this part of her body that's curled up, that's her abdomen. But in a grown-up mantis, that wouldn't be curled up, that'd be flat because the grown-up has wings. So a nymph is the name we give to a baby bug that kind of looks like its mom and dad. The other name we have for baby bugs, maybe you know this, is larva. Like a caterpillar is a type of larva. She's so cute. I don't know if you can see her face. Can we get that, Michelle, or is that?
Yeah, we're getting her.
There she's, her little funny little face. And they like to hang. So they'll hang under a leaf or on a branch. And I'll show you what this little critter looks like when she's all grown up. You can sort of see. There's a good, so they have these really cool things on their top of their heads that are just help them be more camouflaged with everything that's going on. Oh, actually, I'll just leave her out there for a minute anyway, because you can compare her to the grown-up. Grown-ups come in two different, well, sort of a whole host of colors actually. Whoops. And they also, I picked this one up and she decided to play dead. She's not dead. This is one of their defenses. If something big bothers them, they decide, well, I'm just gonna, they're not very strong flyers, mantises. They can fly, they have wings. This one certainly has wings. See, she's fine. There she goes. So this is one of the really, really dark brown variations. And you can see that head crest is, I hope you can see that, is really pronounced.
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. And like all insects, mantises have 6 legs. So you can see there's 3 on this side. She just put down her front leg. 1, 2, 3. And if you can see on the front legs here, she has those spiky, these are predators. So that curved spike, she just put her leg down a few times and you could see it. That curved spike is how she catches her food. These gals like to eat anything really, crickets, flies. They're especially good at catching things that fly, moths. So she will never molt her skin anymore. She's all grown up because she has wings now. If you find a mantis outside that has wings, it's not going to get any bigger. It's all grown up at that point. And here's her sister, which it's just interesting to see the different colors that they come in. See, this is a green one, same age. They came out of the same egg case. And they are just beautiful, beautiful insects and very, very good at camouflaging. Let me put this one on a leaf. So when they, oh, she's playing dead too. See that? Oh, that's good though, because we can see her face really well. So she dropped on her back. That's really a great shot because you see her big eyes. Insects that are predators that need to see movement to catch their food need really good eyesight. And you can see that leafy thing on top of her head. Now see her antennae are starting to quiver a little bit on her head. That is, she's smelling with those. If you look at an insect's face, like we're doing right now, this is a great shot. You can see that they have eyes and they have a mouth, but they do not have a nose. That's true of all insects. Bees can't sneeze. You've got a lot of senses going on though with the antennae. So she just turned a little bit. Hello. She's looking at me to see if I am dangerous to her or not. This is an interesting behavior for a predator to do. You would think that an animal that's a predator, would just fight, but they don't always fight. This is her. And because they're, I'm going to show you, this is how they lay their eggs. This is an egg case of a praying mantis, of this kind of praying mantis. That's just that could hold maybe 30, 40 babies. The kind that you're more likely to find around here look more like a little bee's nest, maybe, like this, a walnut cocoon. I don't know if you've ever seen those in your garden or on a nature trail, but that's a different kind of praying mantis egg case. And that is one that a lot of people find and think it's the start of a bee's nest or something. So I like to show people that so they know. Oh, wake up.
Marianne, we have a question.
Great.
Do praying mantises care for their babies, or do they lay the eggs and then leave them?
They lay their eggs and leave. And that's really best for everybody because they are predators, so they won't really recognize their own young. And young separate as soon as they hatch because they could eat each other if they're left in the same environment. So good question. Yeah.
Another question, how long more or less do praying mantises live?
These take about 6 months to grow up, and then they'll live another 5 to 6 months. So almost a year total. The insects, the praying mantises here in Massachusetts, they have, their life cycle is a little shorter because it gets cold here. So if they hatch in the spring, they have the spring and the summer, and then by fall, they can't really live. Their eggs can survive the cold winter. This little egg case I showed you, it's insulated. It's got air pockets in there, and it's really good at surviving the winter. But the mantises couldn't survive the winter, so their life cycle's a little shorter, less than a year. Another question, or we're good for now?
Nope, good for now.
Okay. So there's she's looking at us again. I think that's funny, and she's really so great camouflage, isn't she? I think I really like her. I'm going to put her back over here for now, and I'm going to show you some beetles. Now, if you were a baby beetle, you'd be a larva, because that's how beetles, that's the life cycle they have. Beetles start out as an egg and it hatches into a larva, just like a caterpillar. That's the type of larva, right? These beetles live in the United States in the desert. That's their habitat. They like to be in the Southwest. So they like it really warm and dry. And aren't they an interesting color? These are called blue death feigning beetles. And this black one is a different species, and there's another black one under there that's hiding for some reason, and that's a different species. They're all death feigning beetles, and that's a funny name, but feign means to pretend. And so these guys, if you'll notice, they have no wings. Most beetles have wings so they can fly away from danger. These beetles are wingless. And they also, so if they get disturbed, if something picks them up or moves a log they're on, do you see what they're doing? You see what that one's doing? It's pretending to not be alive. And the reason that works is because if you're an animal that wants to eat that beetle, and let's say you move a log, you think there might be a beetle under there and nothing moves. Well, if you're a predator, you're only looking for movement. That's how you find your food. You don't care if there's something dead under there. So that's how these beetles protect themselves. Another insect you might find nearby that plays dead is the ladybug. That's our Massachusetts state insect. And that, see, there's another one playing dead. Here we go. He's not dead either. None of them are. I think it's interesting that this behavior occurs in, 3 different species of this type of beetle. Let's see if this one does it. No, see, I wasn't very threatening to him. He doesn't care. He just said, oh. But these 2 are putting on a great show. Very effective. Again, usually you'll see their antennae moving first, and they'll smell to see if the danger has passed. And then they flip themselves over like nothing has gone wrong with their day. So they're pretty fun. And they're fully grown. They won't get any bigger than this. There are all kinds of beetles in the world. That's the biggest group of insects out there. So I think of about 1 million named species. I think almost, 450,000 of those are beetles. So it's a lot. Yeah, overwhelming majority of insects that we know about are beetles.
We have another question, Marianne.
Okay.
How come some of them are black and the others are a blue-gray color?
Yeah, they're oh, there it goes. It's a different kind of beetle with the same behavior. So they're different species, we call them. They're different species. So they can live together because these are not animals that are hunters. And whoops, I just moved the camera a little bit. These animals are scavengers. They like to go through the desert, find little bits of plants, little bits of vegetable bits or fruit bits that have fallen off, cactuses, fruit. And so then there's, or dead bugs. They love dead bugs. It's a good source of protein. So they're super good at recycling in nature. Yeah. Not all beetles are scavengers, of course. There are beetles that are plant eaters. Those are, called herbivores, if you know that word, that science word. And there are beetles that are, predatory. They eat other things. Beetles have a lot of different jobs in nature.
Great. I just want to remind our friends at home who are watching, if you have any questions about any of the bugs we see or just bugs in general, you can type your questions in the chat. Ooh, and we have a question.
Okay.
If they eat dead bugs and their defense is to act dead, how come other scavengers don't eat them?
That is a really good question. And the reason for that is because if something dies, scavengers, remember predators use their vision to find food, right? They're looking for movement. Scavengers, if you're looking for dead things, they're not moving, but they smell bad. So scavengers find their food by smelling. And these guys are just pretending to be dead. They don't smell dead. So scavengers would ignore them. But really good question, good connection there between behavior and yeah, food source, yeah. So go ahead.
All right, another question.
Yeah,
you said they can live in groups. Do you know how many generally live in a group together?
No, I don't have that information. I'm assuming they mean out in the wild. Yeah, I don't know for sure. I have about 6 of them in here, so they're perfectly happy. They're not always good at sharing though. If there's like a really good food source, they will take it and run away and try to hide and eat it. One of the things that sometimes I feed them are the, like a fish flake or a dehydrated baby shrimp for aquarium. If you have an aquarium, you feed your fish. If I put one of those in there, sometimes they'll grab it and run away. It's just a funny little behavior. So they're not really good at sharing, even though they can live together. Also, these are, I don't know if these remind anybody of another type of critter that you might see outside. The shape of them, if you saw them, just the shape of them quickly. Do they look like something else you might see? So if you look quickly at these, they often, I guess nobody sees it, but they do resemble spiders a little bit, because spiders only have 2 body parts. They have a big abdomen and then this front part. In these insects, because they're insects, they have 3 body parts. That's the head right there. And then the middle part we call a thorax, and then this is the abdomen. And so if you look sort of like a spider, maybe some birds and things might say, oh, last time I ate a spider, I did not enjoy that experience. I'm going to leave it alone. But if we thought it was a spider, of course, we could just count the legs, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legs makes it an insect. Does anyone know how many legs a spider has? Somebody's got their hand up, Michelle.
Oh. So anyone you can
Elliot.
type into
Yeah.
the chat. How many legs does a spider have?
Did we get it? I see someone.
Not in our chat yet, but that's okay. Oh, here we go. We heard
Hold up your
8.
fingers. 8, right. So spiders are not insects. They are in a separate group. They're called arachnids. So I'm going to put these little friends over here, and I'm going to introduce you to an arachnid. It is not a spider. This is related to spiders, though. So arachnids have 8 legs and 2 body parts. So they are, here we go. Spiders, scorpions, and ticks. Ticks, you probably don't ever bother to count the legs on a tick, but a tick is an arachnid. And also those little tiny red dots you see on the cement in the summer, those are mites, M-I-T-E-S. Those are arachnids. This scorpion is hiding behind this log. Can you see him? This is how, this is a creature that is active in the nighttime. Raise your hand if you know what the science word for that is. I can see a couple of you. Or you could type it in. Somebody typing?
Not yet. Or maybe we're typing in process.
Okay. So if you're...
I think we have someone who's just about to send something.
All right, great.
Oh, we got someone say, I always step or sit on the mites. They are very annoying.
So, well, they don't bite, so there is that. So if you come out in the nighttime, there's a special science word we use. It's called nocturnal. And if you're a scientist looking for a nocturnal creature like this scorpion, the scorpion is dark, the night is dark, it's hard to see them, right? So sometimes scientists say, I want to go out and count how many scorpions come out after dark in this habitat. I want to know what's going on here. I want to know what they're eating. I want to know what other kind of bugs show up. So they go out with a special light called a UV light. And when you put a UV light on a scorpion, it changes color. Is that showing up well enough for you guys to see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it changes color to like a turquoise blue. And of course, if you're out in the dark, that's going to really, really glow very well. I wonder if I turn off this light, if it's even better. Is that better? Yeah, he's alive.
Yeah.
And I don't know if his claws remind you of anything. Here it's summer in New England, but this creature, as well as the insects, he looks a little like a lobster to me, or a crab. And lobsters and crabs and scorpions and spiders, as well as all the insects that we've seen today, they all have exoskeletons, and they all belong to the biggest group of animals on the planet. And the name for that group is arthropods. If you like to learn new science words, I thought you might like to know that. This scorpion does have a venomous tail. Let's see if I can show it to you. I'd have to remove his little hidey wood there. There it is, see it? Can you see the stinger?
Oh yeah, now we can.
Yeah, so we call him venomous, not poisonous. An animal that can sting you or bite to put poison inside your body, it's called venom. Something is poisonous if you eat it. There's a good look at it too. If you eat it, like a mushroom could be poisonous, for example. It could make you sick if you eat it. But this and spiders, these are venomous arachnids. So that big stinger tail, that's, he is not very dangerous. And you can see he's not aggressive at all. I have my lid is off. I'm here. Just uncovered his little hidey log. He didn't seem to care very much. This is not an aggressive animal. His sting is about as bad as a bee sting. It's his claws that would hurt. Look at those claws. They're monstrous, very big pinchers. The scorpions that tend to have little tiny claws tend to have much more potent poison in their tails, venom, because they don't need all that muscle power up front. Imagine if you had these big claws to fight with and catch your food with. But the scorpions with the little teeny claws, they're sort of underpowered in the claw department, so they need their poison to be strong. So that is our, and by the way, that UV light, that's not really well understood. Scientists don't really know why scorpions will change color under a UV light. They also don't know why Scorpions, remember we started the program with an exoskeleton? This scorpion's exoskeleton. It used to be smaller, and their exoskeletons also change color under UV light. I don't know if that's showing up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's a long-lived process. People think maybe it used to be, maybe it's a waste chemical in their exoskeleton. People have thought that maybe since it glows under UV light, maybe it would help them catch more prey on a full moon where there's the spectrum, the whole lot of light, but none of these theories have been proven. Can you see here? This is where he escaped from his old skin. Aren't you glad we don't have exoskeletons? We would have to molt. That's where he crawled out, right there. There we go. So there's nothing left in this stinger. This is just an empty vessel now. Everything went with him, all the inside stuff.
Oh, we have some general questions, Marianne.
Sure, absolutely.
Do you have a favorite bug?
I really like praying mantises. Those tend to be my favorites. There are a lot of different kinds. You know, they're the ones I showed you today. There are also flower mantises, which are just so pretty. They look like orchids, and they're just beautiful. And then, of course, we have some really tiny ones. We have ones with horns on their heads called the unicorn mantis. There's one with a really, really, really long neck called the violin mantis. There are a lot of different kinds. It's kind of fun. Kind of fun to learn about them. I like them as a group. Also, they're related, really closely related to cockroaches, and everybody hates cockroaches. And most people like mantises, so I'm a little perplexed by that.
And what's the most rare bug that you've ever seen?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I would say one of the ones that is one that I only saw once would be a good answer. It was called the phantom crane fly. A crane fly looks like a giant mosquito, but the phantom one, if you see it flying, it almost looks like it disappears from view. So your eyes get tricked by it. So I would say that would be my vote for that answer.
And so it is just about 1:30 now. So this is last call if anyone has questions for Marianne about any of the bugs you've seen or any of the work that she sees with bugs. This is your chance. You can type in the chat.
It's bug season here in Massachusetts, so there's lots going on out in the yard. If anybody has questions about something they've seen. Lots of fireflies this year, I've noticed. Lots of leafhoppers. Sometimes we have boom and bust years with insects.
Ooh, one question popped up. Okay. You mentioned ticks, which I know we have a lot of in Massachusetts. Why do we sometimes have more ticks some years than other years?
Yeah, that's actually a pretty complicated thing. It has to do with the amount of rainfall we get and how many acorns are produced, which are food for the mice that the ticks prefer to use as a host. So it's actually a pretty, at least the deer tick. Those are the factors that lead to a really explosion of deer ticks, and those are the ones that carry Lyme disease. And so it's a pretty, like anything in nature, it's a web. It's more of a web than a single straight line. Rain is often good for hatching a lot of invertebrate eggs. If we have a rainy spring, lots and lots of insects are their eggs will hatch. If it's super dry, you won't get as many.
Oh. We have a little story from Elise. She said she did an insect fair at school this year. It's about making a bug and creating it out of provided materials, and they make them at home. And they bring them to school and make a poster board and share them.
Nice.
And Elise did a dragonfly themed this year.
Wonderful. Dragonflies are so wonderful. Have you seen dragonflies this year, Elise? Yeah, good. Yeah, me too. There's some really pretty ones out there. Did you do the life cycle of the dragonfly? You can just shake your head yes if you do. Because it's pretty interesting. They start out in the water and then they become flyers. So and they're predators both times. When they're in the water, they're predators, and then when they spread their wings and fly, they're predators. So you usually find those near, a pond.
Yeah, Elise said they did not focus on life cycle, but sounds like something super cool to look into.
Yeah. Well, our state insect is the ladybug. If anybody wants to, I don't have one here, but if anybody wanted to look up that story, go to mass.gov. It was kids who voted for which insect it should be.
I misread. Elise did do the life cycle.
Ah, okay.
Very cool. But I didn't do dragonfly theme life cycle. Mine just looked like a dragonfly.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Elise.
So you can see these mists is how they get their prey, because she is just so still, right? They're called sit and wait predators. They're very patient. So she would just stay like that for hours until a fly landed in front of her or a cricket walked across a leaf or something like that. Interesting behavior.
Oh, we have another question. Are there any bugs that eat mosquitoes?
Dragonflies. Dragonflies eat a lot of mosquitoes. They're good to have around. Also spiders, would catch mosquitoes, and they have to fly into the web, but still. Mosquitoes are the same as dragonfly. When they start their life, they're in water. They're larvae. So they provide, the larvae is a lot of food for frogs and other small critters in ponds and stuff. So.
All right. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. So I really want to thank you so much, Marianne, for joining us and showing off some of your really cool bugs.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. And thank you everyone who came and checked it out and asked some really good questions about bugs. So we hope that you continue to have a lot of fun with Explore It, and we're looking forward to another week of fun. And there will be another live feature next week. So keep an eye on your email and we'll let you know who we're going to meet next week. But thank you so much again, Marianne.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a good day, everyone.